Welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, 790 The Score. Hey, anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. And make sure you give us a call on Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. It's a message line. Leave us a message 24/7. Joe checks them at like 4 in the morning. So make sure you sending us those messages, have a take, or you can email us on our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. It's week 1, everybody.
Oh, can you be a little more excited, animated, something? Really?
You said last week that this is the least exciting year. You coming into the season, blah blah blah. All
It's
that.
still week 1. Come on, we're gonna show a little bit of something. No,
I'm excited. It's football. It's Patriots. Hey, listen, we're like you out there. You know, we're Patriots fans through and through. We're gonna bitch and complain all forever, but never gonna miss a moment.
No, it's football season. You know, Chris, listen, no matter what we think their record's going to be at the end, right now, 0 wins, 0 losses. It's a fresh new season. First time, Chris, in 24 years? No Belichick, no Brady, nobody. Clean slate with some of the best coaches in the NFL.
Oh, yeah. The highest paid coaches by every other team still.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into it all. We're going to get into this game tonight. We're going to go QB breakdown, and we're going to talk Pats preview and actually break down the offensive and defensive keys to victory and go into our coach's corner and talk a little bit about that. And, of course, not new, but for those of you who listened last year, our Sunday spread, we're going to give you our picks of the week. And we're also going to talk about who we like to win the division winners, the conference winner, and maybe we'll throw a Super Bowl winner team out there. But we are going to get you some. We are going to go through our picks and against the spread and see if we can make you some money. So, gentlemen,
we had some hot streaks last year with that, Chris.
We did. I was up and down. It's
but
probably
at the end, I think we made money for our viewers. But at the end,
the beginning of the season is always tough. It is.
Yes,
it's settling in, especially offensively. But let's get to our QB breakdown, Joe.
Okay, now.
Hit it, boys.
Okay.
I like that.
I do. I like it too. So, Mark, talking about the quarterback in this game, okay, we've gone through the preseason now. Drake May's not playing, so we'll just put that aside. And it's Jacoby Brissett versus Joe Burrow in this game. And so some of the things you're looking at, let's talk about Brissett, obviously. What's he going to need to do to have some success in this game? Let's be positive now.
Listen, I'm always positive. No, in all seriousness, though, Chris, he's going to have to protect the football, right? Part of what they did with him in bringing him here was they thought he would make smart decisions, protect the ball, and not give Cincinnati a short field with Burrow and Chase and Higgins and all those guys. And Belichick, Chris, his line always was end every drive with a kick, whether it's a punt, field goal, or extra point, and you'll be all right. Because if you can do that and get a couple of turnovers, you're going to be +2 or +3 at the end of the game, and your chances of winning the game are very good. And I think that's what, as simplistic as that sounds, that's what I think Brissett needs to do, Chris. To set them up so that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, sometimes we make it sound simple, and obviously it's not. Yeah. But, you can't play behind the sticks. So, you can't have negative plays. So you can't have bumbles in the backfield, drop snaps. You can't have those kinds of things. You can't fail in setting your protection with the offensive line. You have to have good communication with your O-line. You got to be able to look at the defense, assess what's happening, and set your protection properly. That's the first order of business, and that gets you better able to not play behind those sticks and get penalties and put yourself in first and 15 and things like that. And again, the big thing, like you say, no turnovers. I mean, it's I know it sounds simple, like we said, but don't turn the ball over. Protect the football. I think it was what, a +2. If you're a +2, it's an 83% chance of winning. +1's like 77, something like that. So I mean, you gotta win the turnover battle, especially when you're battling uphill like this. And Jacoby Brissett plays a huge part of that. And control the clock. Get your team in and out of plays that can help. I mean, we talked about Alex Van Pelt and why is Jacoby Brissett playing. I told you last week, I think he's playing because I don't think Alex Van Pelt can handle a rookie quarterback and manage an offense for the first time, call plays for the first time in a new offense to these guys. So you need that veteran.
Van Pelt was listed as the OC last year in Cleveland, Chris, but he wasn't calling the plays. The head coach called the plays. So he may have been OC. Maybe he was managing quarterbacks, doing whatever he was doing over there, but he wasn't the OC. So it was different.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And so now that's
when I say it wasn't the OC, he wasn't the OC calling plays. He was OC on paper.
Right. But, yeah. Once again, it's another guy that's a first time doing it guy on this team, And so again, controlling the clock, understanding the situation. I mean, you know me, I'm a big situational football kind of guy. Understand the down, the distance, the situation you're in. Get your team in and out of good plays. Don't put your team in bad plays. Don't allow a situation where you're giving up on plays. Like Brady talked about. What does that mean, Mark? When I say giving up on plays, tell everybody what I mean by that.
Well, Chris, so if you're giving up on a
Brady talked about that.
He did. But Brady talked about it, Chris, in a couple of different contexts. But Brady was talking about if there's a play called at the line of scrimmage, and you look at the defense and that play's not going to work, you better check out of it. Don't run it when you know it can't be successful. So what are you running? You're going to get a 5-yard loss, a sack, a turnover. If you look and it's not there, don't run the play. Check out of it. And if you can't, if you check on, if you still, whatever you check on them, if it's not there, throw the ball away. Make a quick decision and live another game, live another play. And Brady said that these guys don't do that. They don't think they force the ball. They don't check out of it. They take in negative yards. You should know at the line of scrimmage if it's not going to work and come up with something else.
Not only that, you should have been practicing and you should have. See, Brady talked about never giving up on plays, never giving up in preparation on plays. So they would go through all of their play chart, 150 plays, whatever it was.
Test, he used to say before he stepped behind center.
He'd have the answers to the test. Yeah.
Yes.
Because again, so I mean, he would look at a play and say, okay, if we see what's going to break this play, what can beat this play, and if I see that, what are we doing next? So I'm not just going to run it anyway and say, okay, well, we'll take a loss on this one. That's the kind of stuff. So it's all about preparation. But Chris, if Jacoby Brissett will study and prepare, then he'll be able to, that puts him in a guy like that doesn't have the physical abilities to be able to get himself out of jams physically. He's got to study.
But Chris, isn't that why he's starting supposedly over Drake May? Because that's why he was brought in to do that?
Because of the experience.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, that's what they said, right? But listen, what he did in that Philadelphia game with that throw into the end zone, Chris, whether it was a mistake, it was a misread by the tight end. He didn't cut across. I don't know. Was that on the tight end at the time? I think it might have been Hunter Henry. Was it on him? Was it on? I don't know. Was it on Brissett? It was a pretty ugly looking pass.
It was Hooper.
Hooper. I'm sorry. It was Hooper. I don't know who it was on, Chris, but it was an ugly looking pass. And
Mayo bailed him out too. Mayo gave him the out, basically, or Alex Van Pelt. I think it was AVP. He said, better route there, and
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean,
I don't know.
Like again, it's all about preparation. How much is he working during the week? To keep his. And again, you're not looking for him to throw 4 touchdowns in this game. You're not looking for 3.
No,
maybe 2.
You're looking for probably 2. You're probably looking for maybe 2 and maybe a couple of maybe a couple of touchdowns running or whatever. Yeah, right. You're looking for 2.
And just again, no turnovers. Doesn't have to be gaudy numbers. You throw for a couple hundred yards. Okay, fine. and control the clock, manage the game, be the leader on the field. I'm interested to see how the relationship is going to develop between Brissett, some of these receivers, the tight ends, and the communication with the offensive line. So those are all the things that I think you need to see out of Brissett, right?
No, absolutely. And Chris, I'm going to be honest with you, though. I think Drake May had a better relationship with the rookie receivers than Brissett.
Well, I don't know how much you're going to – in the next segment, we'll talk about whether or not you're going to see one of those rookie receivers in this game, because I don't think you're going to in Baker.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that.
And if you don't, that's a mistake. That's a huge mistake if you don't see Baker.
He had a tough ending of camp, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
But yeah, with the quarterback, it's all you need to see is what you brought him in to do, and the reason why he's playing. So that's it in a nutshell. Because he's going to have to set his protection right to get chips on Hendrickson, or they're in a lot of trouble.
And Chris, the way this offense is designed, this West Coast offense, and the premises around the running game and what the running game is supposed to establish, and how you utilize the running game, there's going to be opportunities. Correct me if I'm wrong, for Jacoby Brissett to hit guys downfield. There should be.
Should be.
If the offense is functioning the way it's designed to function, right? Yeah. So can he make that read and understand this is where quickly make a read and that's where the ball goes? I don't know.
Well, for them to have success in this game, that's what's going to have to happen. Those, about those over-under routes, those crossers.
The guy that's open on a deep cross is going to be Thornton, right?
Well, Thornton's whole job is to take the top off that defense for the play action.
Maybe he does
to draw safety, to worry about him. That's it. That's what his job is.
He's going to get right off the line. He's going to get right off a bump, and he's going to get off the line, Chris.
Yeah. They want to free up that over-crossing route and a play action. But you better run the damn ball. So Jacoby, it's all on him to be able to manage and control this. And looking at the other side now, looking at Joe Burrow, okay?
Oh,
look.
Burrow's historically a slow starter, though, Chris. Historically,
this is his first full training camp.
Yep, he's a slow starter.
But this is his first full training camp. So,
and I think that was intentional.
Yeah,
this year,
So how? I mean, okay, so Chase, is most likely playing, but Chase hasn't had a lot of reps. He hasn't a lot of work.
But he's been practicing. So does Chase? How much is Chase actually on the field? He probably starts, but I'm assuming they're going to give him a lot of rest. In this game, I don't think he's going to be targeted 15, 20 times, Chris. I just don't think he'll have the endurance to do that in this game. He'll play, but I don't think it's going to be a full, all-out Jamar Chase, even though I think he's really motivated because he wants Justin Jefferson money.
The problem when you come to look, when you watch the Cincinnati Bengals and watch Joe Burrow, like Mark said, over the past few years, there are times they looked ugly on offense. And that was with Chase in there. That it looked ugly, really ugly, sloppy, dysfunctional, just the offensive line, the communication. And so if Burrow starts slow like that, and he doesn't have good communication with Chase and with some of these on some of these checks and things like that, and if our pass rush is bothering him some, then we may have some success. I mean, any little edge is going to try to help.
Chris, this is a team you should be able to get pressure on the quarterback. Their offensive line historically has not been dominant. You should be able.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Burrow? How do you think Burrow is in the cerebral part of this game? Do you in other words, we talk about setting protections, preparation, all the things get you it on a good place. Physically, the physical traits of Burrow. I mean, just being able to shift in the pocket.
If he's healthy, they're off the chart.
His arm strength. But how do you think he is in the cerebral part? Do you think he gets him in good protections? I mean, we talked about their offensive line being a problem, and with the 30 seconds we got left, I mean,
No, I think he struggles with that, Chris. Still, I think he missed an entire year with the knee injury. He missed a chunk of last year. I think the cerebral part of this game, he's still growing at that, Chris. I don't know if he's, as crazy as it sounds, I don't know if he's had enough experience yet to master the cerebral part of the game. Because if you remember, Chris, it took Manning a couple of years to become Manning. It took Brady a few years to become Brady. I think Joe Burrow can get there. But you're right, Chris. That's an excellent point. I don't know if he's at that level yet. like a Mahomes or one of those guys.
Right. Well, so we'll see what happens. But QB Breakdown was presented by CORSO Law Group, CORSOLawGroup.com. Hey, we come back. Going to talk Pat's preview. We're going to preview the Bengals game from offense, defense, and all that more. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with more Pat's Nation. Okay, Mark. So we talked about quarterback. Now I want to go to the offense. Let's talk offense. Let's talk defense. Let's do it. Pat's preview, Joe.
Pat's preview.
All right, Mark. Let's talk about the offense coming to this. So keys. Everybody's keys to victory. What it's going to take for us to win this game on offense. And, obviously we talked about Brissett. We talked about the quarterback. Everybody's been talking about the offensive line, right? So let's talk about the offensive line. Now, injury report, Lowe went back to, as of the Thursday one, he was
practicing.
He was limited participation, with Lowe. Sidney So, I don't think he's going to play in this game.
No.
Okay, so now you're sitting there saying, all right, what's our offensive line going to look like, consist of? Who's playing?
So I think you're going to be looking at Okafor, left tackle, right? I think Andrews. I think if Lowe's not playing, Chris, I think you're going to probably have to have Owenu at right tackle, right? Yeah. I think Robinson is going to have to play one of the guard positions. And who's going to be the other guard?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you do on that side.
What do you do?
I'm not sure what you put.
You're going to use the rookie Wallace.
He'll probably get some play. It's you got to hope Lowe plays, because if Lowe plays, he plays left tackle. Or Okafor plays.
Okafor,
right
you want to kick to the right side,
right
if possible,
tackle,
Chris, right?
And then Owenu at guard, Robinson at the other guard, Andrews playing center, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it could get ugly, but with this offensive line, I mean, the biggest part of the problem with this is the defensive front for Cincinnati and Hendrickson. I mean, this is a guy that had 18 sacks last year. Okay, and you also have Aranuno's, the DC over there. His blitz packages are pretty damn good. And with this kind of offensive line that hasn't had the continuity, hasn't played together a ton, how's that going to look, Mark?
Chris, if you look at the joint practice with Philadelphia, they were abysmal trying to protect the quarterback. So you may have a huge problem, Chris, protecting the quarterback in this game. If you're getting back to your analysis of Brissett earlier, you better be putting yourself in positive situations where you got short yardage situations. You're moving the sticks forward, because Chris, I have a funny feeling you're going to see this team coming off the edge on blitzes and different packages, and we're going to struggle. And God forbid Brissett gets knocked out of the game. Right? Yeah.
And that's a whole
other conversation. That's another conversation.
Hendrickson, you can, if the offensive line,
you're gonna have to chip him, Chris, for sure.
But you're gonna have to run the ball. Look, it's a lot easier for the offensive line if you're running the ball, because you can be more aggressive with it. You can shift the defensive end sides. You can take those one side out of the game with these zone runs. You can bring
the inside outside zone runs, Chris. You should be able to,
right. And you could take.
I think
one
you're
going to
see a lot of 12 personnel in this game, Chris, because of what you just described. No, but because of what you just described, I think you're going to see 12 personnel in this game to protect them a little bit too. You're going to see more 12 personnel from the Patriots than anybody else in the league on Sunday. I'll make that prediction.
All year long. 12 personnel means one running back, two tight ends. And none of their tight ends are big blockers. So, it's not like you got that kind of Bronx situation where you're in a lot of, So the zone run, it's going to make a difference. Second level blocking, chip on Hendrickson, things like that. But down and distance matters with the offensive line. You know,
it matters big time with this offensive line, Chris. It matters big time.
Right. So that's something to look for. Now, Mark, talk about the wide receivers. Okay.
So, Chris, it looks like Thornton's going to get some. Thornton's going to get some play. I think he's going to start. He's going to get some serious play. I think Chris Thornton, right? Which I know you do not like, and I think obviously Pop Douglas will be on the field. I think KJ Osborne and Polk are going to be your top 4 guys. They're going to get a lot of play. And you mentioned Chris.
Pop Douglas, though. Pop Douglas.
I mentioned Douglas.
No,
I mentioned Douglas. Yeah, it's going to be Douglas, Thornton, and Polk. I think are your 3 starters. And Osborne will be 4th. And you mentioned you don't know.
Now, you think Polk starts over Osborne?
Yes,
I do, but I should. He should.
He should, but you never know, Chris. With this, you never know. But you mentioned you don't think we're going to see much of Baker this week, which I think is a mistake.
You know, the story came out this week. You know, about talking about his attitude. I don't know. He got a parking ticket. Something happened, and he is on this Instagram thing that you love. You love all this Instagram crap. They about Catone's comments about the Instagram, but then this guy's driving and he's talking. He's bitching about the cop who gave him the ticket.
Who cares?
I don't care. Like, in other words, they're making such a huge thing. Well, it just shows you the character of the kid. Let me ask you something. Everybody out there that says this kid's a problem, his maturity level. Yeah. Let me ask you, has anybody out there never bitched about a cop giving you a ticket before by yourself in the car? Really? What? Because you just put it on. All these kids put it on camera.
Because, Chris, Tyreek Hill's one of the best receivers in football. He's a model citizen. He's never had any and nothing. You know, listen, all of these wide receivers, if you want a true number 1 wide receiver, they're all divas. They all got a little bit of an attitude. They're not necessarily model citizens. There's some blemishes on their record, but who cares? They're professional. They're there to play football. They're there to get 1,000 yards. Right,
but the problem, Mark, is dropping the ball. He had a bad second half of camp.
I understand that, Chris, but the guy gets open, Chris. He gets open. And I'm telling you, and you're going to be swearing and throwing things. And when Thornton can't get off the line of scrimmage, you're going to be screaming, why is he in this damn game? And they're going to have to put Baker out there, Chris.
Well, because if you can't get separation, if you're Thornton, you can't get separation on this secondary for Cincinnati,
then
which you should be able to, then you're finished. You're done. He can't play in this league, period. And I don't think he can anyway, because part of play action pass is predicated on your outside receiver getting separation, taking that corner downfield, and drawing some interest from the safety to try to bracket over the top. It's all about opening up the middle of the field, freezing the inside linebackers so you can run those under crossing routes and the over cross route, and you put the inside linebackers in jeopardy because you're taking the safety out on play action. That's what it's about. And that's what Polk and Douglas will have a lot of success. So it can be done with the wide receivers, but that's the way it has to be done. And about the running game, Mark, talk about that, because they're going to have to run the ball. I mean, that's, you know.
Chris, if they don't run the ball in this game, they can't win. Ramondre Stevenson is going to Antonio Gibson now, Chris, is on the injured report. He got hurt, right? So I don't know what his status will be for Sunday. Was this a shoulder or something?
Yeah.
Gibson. So I don't know what his status will be. So Ramondre Stevenson is going to get a bulk of the work on Sunday.
Hip.
It's a hip. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stevenson, Chris, is going to have to rush for over 100 yards.
Yeah,
if he doesn't rush for over 100, I don't think you can win the game. I shouldn't even say that. I'm sorry. Not even win the game. Forget winning the game. I don't think you can stay competitive in this game if he don't get over 100 yards, because that means you're keeping the ball away from Burrow in that offense. Because the more times Burrow in that offense gets the ball, listen, you want to know why Tyquan Thornton looked good in training camp, Chris? Because the opposite side of Gonzalez, it's horrible. I don't care why they don't want to go get Gilmore. You're going to get exposed on that side of the field. So you better be able. And I know we're not talking defense yet.
Well, we're going to
You better be able to run the football, because if you don't, you're screwed on that side of the ball. On that side, that corner side is awful.
All right. So that's some of the keys to offense as to how we can have success. I think we can if with discipline and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But this portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon to 1 p.m. Eastern. Hey, we got Yankees, Red Sox, Catone's comments, anything you bring to the table. When we come back, we're going to stay with Pat's preview. We're going to talk defense, all that and more. No flipping. The real deal, New England Field. What does that mean? We're like you. We're going to bitch about everything.
My opinion, our draft, the good, the bad, it was ugly.
These people, Mark, drive me freaking insane. Bananas.
It's so frustrating and aggravating. I can't take it.
The real deal, New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, Mark, we talked offense, keys to victory. Now let's talk a little bit about the defense. And what is it going to take for this defense to either slow down, keep them off the field, minimize their possessions, that being Cincinnati. So what's your first major point for this defense? It looks like you're having a little trouble with the order. Go ahead, Mark.
Christian Gonzalez, Chris, is going to have a big game. He's going to because listen, Polk, Chase, Higgins, he's going to end up on one of those guys pretty much on every play. He's going to probably be matched up on one of those guys, Chris. And he's going to have to be the number one corner that we think he is. And he's going to have to lock somebody out and lock that. He's going to have to shut that side of the field down, Chris, no matter who he's matched up against, because I really think the other side of the field is going to get. You don't have Belichick the plan and scheme anymore, Chris. That's going to become very evident in this game because that other side of the field, that other corner side, I believe is going to get exposed. I really do.
Well, listen, I agree. I think what they're going to probably do is I think they're going to you'll show him a lot on Higgins.
Yep.
And then you'll bracket with Jonathan Jones and a safety, Hasty or Hastings or Peppers on Chase. On Chase. Because we don't know what Chase is going to give us. I mean, we don't know how rusty he's going to be. So that'll be determined throughout the game.
Listen, this is the best week to play Cincinnati and Chase because, like you said, we don't know what he's giving you yet.
Absolutely. And so, I worry about that other side of the field because you're right. Gonzalez is a huge point because, again, Jonathan Jones was on a lot of defensive guys on the injury list this week. And you had, Jonathan Jones was with a hamstring, which I don't know in this day and age how you get a friggin' hamstring anymore. I mean, I know how, but we're not going to get into it. But so we'll see what he's like. And then you got Marcus Jones and then the drop-off Mark, Austin and, Dial and these guys that, if Bolden comes off the practice squad, I mean, it's thin.
Oh, my God.
It's thin for sure over there. And so these receivers may pitch us fits, Mark.
I'm going to tell you who's going to give you fits, Chris, is the rookie Burton from Alabama. Listen, we talked about him when he came out of the draft. He had a real good camp, Chris. He's going to end up being better than the guy they let go, Boyd, the number 3 receiver. They let him go in free agency. This kid Burton's better than Boyd. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a problem with him, and you're going to see his name in the stat line. Touchdown, 70 yards, 80 yards. He's going to hurt you on that side of the field because I don't know if we have any corners that can hang with him, Chris. I think your corners outside of Jones, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones was hurt all the training camp, so I don't know what he's giving you week 1 either. It's going to be interesting, Chris, to see what they do on that side of the field.
So now going to the defensive front. Now this has been a situation all summer where the depth has been an issue. The physical size of these guys. After Godchow, you got Quale, you got Farms. These guys are a little undersized. To be able to stop the run. You're going to see Zach. You're going to see Moss over there because they don't have Mixon anymore. So you're going to see Moss, who rushed last year for 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. So he's a guy that can get his. But you're going to have to stop that running. You have to make them at least one-dimensional somehow, some way. Okay? And you're not going to force them to not throw the ball. They're going to throw the ball. So you better stop the run. And that's the first order of business. The second is the pass rush. This game is going to weigh heavily on Dietrich Weiss, Keon White, Josh Uche, if he plays, he was on the list too this week at limited practice. So is he going to play? Anthony Jennings came off the list with a wrist injury, so looks like he's going to play. Well, he was on full participation, so it seems he will play. And Zimenez is on full participation as well. This is, to me, the key.
And I think Zimenez, Chris, is going to give you something this week because I think the kid can get to the quarterback.
Yeah. So this is key. I mean, this is where we're looking at the pass rush. If they got to get to Burrow a little bit, they got to create some problems in the backfield. They got to keep him in the pocket. Don't allow him to shift because he'll get out and run, Mark.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Listen, you're going to have to create pressure on him, Chris, because if you can create pressure, that'll protect your corners, the other corners that we're worried about. Well, that's our only way to protect them, Chris, is if you can create pressure on Burrow and get him to run out of the pocket. And if he has to run, it's still better than hitting a receiver 30 yards downfield, right? Or giving up a big positive play on and through the pass game. And Chris, the one thing that I think Cincinnati doesn't threaten you with, I don't know if they expose our linebackers, their offense, the way their offense is set up. With you mentioned the running game, you mentioned their tight ends are okay. I don't know if Bentley and Tavai get exposed this week, Chris.
I
don't know. They may not.
Well, listen, I will say this. The whole Bentley and Tavai, Mark,
Well, what do you think this week?
I don't think it's going to be as much of a problem as some of these other teams that you're going to see. Because again, I don't know how well, catching balls out of the backfield, them taking wheel routes down the sideline against Tavai, against our off ball guys, to get sideline to sideline. I will say that Bentley is going to need to be big in the running game because of the size of our defensive front. Bentley's going to have to make them right. He's going to have to fill gaps. Now, this is not a 2-gap scheme. I mean, this is not an odd front where you got 3 down linemen head up, and those techniques where they're covering 2 gaps, these defensive linemen, they're not big enough for that. Okay, Godchild, but the rest of these guys aren't. So it's going to be gap. It's going to be a lot of gap defense, and Bentley's going to have to make them right. So as they're getting blocked, meaning somebody gets blocked on the defensive line, Bentley's going to come opposite direction, and he can't guess like he likes to do. He likes to guess, Mark. Likes to choose a side, and sometimes he's wrong.
You go crazy when he does that because the majority he chooses wrong a lot.
Yeah,
Chris.
I mean, look at it. I think that in the middle of our field stinks. I think our linebackers, I don't think they're good. I mean, Bentley has his good points, but overall, they're not good. They're not good enough. But this week, I don't think you've got the tight end as big of an issue and those kinds of things. It's really more on the outside.
Yeah.
And with Burton, with the guy you're talking about, he's going to put pressure on our, inside.
He's going to put pressure on the inside.
Nickel situation. But, Mark, the safeties, we haven't talked a lot in camp about the safeties.
No, we haven't.
How do you see them fitting in to the run help, in the pass? Do you think that they're going to be good enough to be able to get over top, help on Chase, help on Higgins, and then be able to come down? I mean, Peppers has a season like he did last year. I mean,
but Chris, that wasn't Peppers' strength, though, Chris.
No, but he came down a lot and made a lot.
No. He can come down. No. I get that, but do you think he's going to be able to protect the center of the field?
Well, I think Hastings
center field.
Yeah, I think Hastings more of that type
of situation. It's
going to
be Hastings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, Peppers is going to have to do it too, because at some point, I mean, Duggar's going to be in this game. You're not. Yeah. Duggar's going to start this game, so you're going to be the rotation of Peppers and Hastings is going to be there.
Duggar's going to be one of the highest paid safeties in football, Chris.
They didn't have to do it either.
Of course not, because they misjudged the safety market. Those safeties, all those safeties that were out there, none of them got big money. But we panicked, and anyways, we're not talking about free agency now. But you're right, Duggar's going to be on the field a lot, Chris. You're right. And we haven't talked about. So what do you think of our safety unit? Because you're right, we haven't really talked about him. Mapu is obviously not playing; he's out. So what do you think of the safeties?
Yeah, I mean, I like the safety room. I think it's now the strength. I mean, taking Gonzalez out of the picture. I mean, I think that it's the strength of. I think it's the strength of the secondary right now.
Okay.
Because I think Duggar's a good player, Peppers is a good player, Hastie's a good player, and some of these other guys, that Pettis and who's the special teams guy last year, Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Another guy that I think is going to contribute playing that center field free safety. He's looked pretty good in camp. So
you think Schroeder might be out there a little bit?
I think he will, and some of those guys are real good coming down to help. But again, this is all going to be about what's happening on the edges, outside. So okay, Mark, your keys. What are your key to victory? They're going to win this game because the defense did what?
They're going to win this game because the defense puts you in a position where you're +2, +3 in the turnover game. And if we can't turn Burrow over and get to be +2 or +3 in the turnover game, we got a problem. That's you can't win this game, Chris, unless your defense creates turnovers, because we're not outscoring this team. But if the defense is +2, +3, they put you in position to win the game.
To me, it's going to be the pass rush. It's going to be trying to get them into long yardage, and it's going to be trying to get them to play behind the sticks.
Yep.
Some tackles for losses, a couple of sacks. Get Chase to get winded. Get Chase to not be ready. Let's see the rust.
Because you're right, Chris. Because it's going to be rust. Yeah, absolutely
there will be. And so with that, I think. Again, I do think they're going to get a pass rush. I do. I'm not sold on Cincinnati's offensive line. Are you?
No, I'm not either. Either. But I do think they're going to miss Bondmore's pressure up the middle, Chris.
Well, they're going to miss that all season long.
And Bondmore, I think, is going to be out all year. That's what indications are now. He's going to end up out all year. And if he does, then that's a big loss. But yeah, Chris, listen, Keon White. You mentioned during camp, you thought he was going to put together an all-pro year this year. And if he does, if he can put up numbers like Judon would put up when Judon was healthy, then you should get pressure on Burrow. You should.
Right. So we'll see what happens, but that's our breakdown of the Bengal game that's happening today. Kickoff 1 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned. Let us know what you think in Heated Hotline if we were right next week. But when we come back, we're going to go into the coaching room in Coach's Corner. All that and more. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Back in with the Pats Nation. All right, Mark. I heard you laughing on the way out to break as soon as I mentioned Coach's Corner. Were you thinking about the Heated Hotline yesterday on CORSO?
I was, and those of you who didn't see it, you got to go on YouTube and watch CORSO and Catone. Go on Apple Podcasts, something. You have to listen to CORSO and Catone from yesterday because you have to listen to our Heated Hotline. Jen from Cranston she's just the best caller we have. When she calls, it's always an A+ call, Chris. Right?
Well, let's get into the coaching room and Coach's Corner, Joe.
Coach's Corner.
Okay, Mark. So, we're not going to talk a ton on this because I want to know quickly what you're expecting in this game. But, Gerard Mayo, okay? Yeah. And we got an audio clip I want to play. But, talking about – just to get back to
AFC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, right. Talking about how May is going to develop, okay? It's just a Ringling Brothers situation every single time he gets behind the mic, in my opinion. Giggling. He forgot who the captain was, and somebody reminded him of the pro. Oh, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He's saying, this could have been a fire. That could have been a fire, So thank you. Blah, blah, blah. So,
shut up.
But talking about May and his ideas to how he's going to progress when asked, how's Drake May going to progress? This is what he said.
We'll see how it goes, but once again, I don't want Jacoby to feel like someone's nipping at his heels, and he'll get the majority of the reps while at the same time continuing to develop Drake in other ways. Now, a lot of you guys, I guess the next question will be, how do you do that? He will still participate, in some of the, the team drills for the upcoming team. But I also think, the show team reps are very important. They've always been important. And even when I was a rookie, I also was a top 10 pick. But even as a rookie, I was on those show teams. And I think that's another place where you can develop as well as the other tools that we've talked about here over the summer.
Mark. First of all, the linebacker and quarterback, do we agree, are different positions?
Yeah, I think so. He knows that. He's the head coach, right?
Yeah, I said it yesterday. That it's not analogous. It's no analogy.
Okay.
You can't
All
build
right.
that bridge.
Okay.
It's different when you have a backup quarterback that's designated a backup quarterback that's going to be the backup quarterback. Fine, put him on the scout team. Let him run there. But this is a guy you're trying to develop to possibly play this year. So it depends on who you're shortchanging. And I said this yesterday. If you have him just be Drake May running the scout team offense, not mimicking what he sees from the other quarterback, if you have him doing that, then you're shortchanging the defense for the game that's happening now, the current. But if you allow him to just mimic other quarterbacks now what? He's trying to develop his own. He's trying to work out kinks in his game. How's that going to work?
It doesn't. Joe Milton should be running the scout team, Chris. Come on, listen. You said it yesterday too, Chris. How the kid is your franchise quarterback. He's not, like you said yesterday, he's not Brian Hoyer. He's not one of these guys who you're not grooming him.
Damon Heward back in the day that was playing Manning.
You're showing your age now. So, but Drake May isn't one of those guys, Chris. So to your point, what are you talking about? And then he says, well, I don't want, Jacoby to feel like somebody's nipping at his heels. But he is nipping at his heels.
Of course. We want him to.
Of course we do. So what the hell are you talking about?
He doesn't know.
Gerard, what are you talking about? That's the whole point. Listen, when Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a year, Chris, at the end of every practice, now he did this, he took the initiative. He'd get some wide receivers from the practice squad. He'd get some fourth or fifth receivers from the starting offense. They weren't necessarily getting a ton of reps. He got backup offensive linemen. He took the playbook that Andy Reid had for that week, and he ran through the playbook with that offense at the end of every practice. He did it himself. He wasn't running scout. I mean, maybe he ran a little scout team too. I don't know. But Chris, he ran. Are they going to allow Drake May to do that? Are they going to have Drake May do that every week like Mahomes did?
They should be telling him to do.
Get Mahomes ready?
So we should be hearing Gerard Mayo say things like, it's on May. May's going to have to do the extra work.
And
he's
he
going to
didn't
have to do the extra
that.
work to get up to date.
No, he said he's going to be on
the scout
team.
offense. With bubbles coming out of his ears. We're going to start calling him Bubbles. That's my new nickname for Mayo. Bubbles. So
Bubbles.
Taking that to the game now, okay? With the last couple minutes in this segment we have, because we'll talk about next week or whatever about Drake May if Jacoby gets hurt and all that. But what are we expecting from this coaching staff now in this game today? Like, Chris, what do you want to see? I mean,
Chris, I want to see what happens when in-game management, timeouts, clock management, at the end of half, end of first half. How is he? Do you get that extra possession that Belichick used to get? Do you know how to manage in game? Because the exit preseason totally different than managing in game, Chris, in a real NFL game. What do they do with situational football? How do they handle that? Because it's not just Mayo, the DC, the OC, special teams. Everybody's never done this before, Chris, at that level. They've never been the head guy, any of these position coaches. So, Chris, it's a scary thought.
The middle eight, the middle six, the middle eight, and that's what you're referring to. That you're Mark's alluding to the middle. We call it. Yes. Belichick always called it the middle eight. You win the middle eight, meaning you win the last 3 minutes, middle six, last 3 minutes of the first half, first 3 minutes of the second half. You win those 6 minutes. 77% of the time you're winning the game.
Mhm.
That's a big percentage.
Yeah.
And how do you win those? Like Mark said, you win it with proper, managing the game properly with timeouts, play calling, down, this, all the situational football stuff that Mayo's going to have to deal with. Well, let's see. I'm with you. And also, I want to see, how is Alex Van Pelt going to call the game? When the game speeds up, and it will, and that 70,000 people are screaming and yelling, okay? I want to see how he handles that situation and how the game speeds up for him, and is he going to be able to function in that situation? Is he going to be able to do that? Those are the things I'm looking at when I see, in today's game. So we're going to pay close attention to that and see if they're up to this challenge. So good. God help us. Mark, God help us all. But
up to the challenge. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. But Coach's Corner was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. We got Catone's comments. We have Yankees, Red Sox, and everything else in between. So make sure you're tuning into that. But when we come back, we're going to try to make you some money, talk a little about division winners, and we're going to do it in Sunday Spread right after this.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
That's
crap.
it. What is wrong with
Get him on this damn
you?
show.
Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Field. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Pats Nation. Okay, Mark. So here we go. We're gonna make you people some money out there this year. A lot of things we can impart on you and talk about with the spreads and betting the games and all that. And make sure, hey, listen, what do I always say? You bet for want, not for need. Right?
Okay, that's your favorite line. Yep,
that's
you
it. You bet because you want to, not because you need to.
Not because
so
you
make
need
sure
to.
you make sure you're betting responsibly. But before we get to some of our picks of the week and our locks of the week and Sunday Spread, let's talk about who we think are going to win these divisions. All right. So let's start in the AFC. Let's give our picks. Okay. And then we're also going to give our Patriots pick as well at the end of this.
So we're going to give our division winners, and we're also going to give our wild card teams.
Yeah. And
three. Right? There's 3 wild card teams in each conference. So we'll give our division winners quickly, Chris, and 3 wild cards quickly.
That sounds okay to me.
Okay.
So we could talk about, and if we want, we could talk about the conference winner and when the Patriots going to win the Super Bowl,
all right,
and all of that. So,
all
right.
Yep.
So, Mark, let's start in the AFC East. Okay.
I'm going to go and I'm going to go with the Jets. I know the Jets are getting a lot of bad publicity right now. They think they're overrated. I think the Jets are going to win. If Rodgers is healthy, they're my division winner.
That's what I had last year. If Rodgers didn't get hurt, I mean, they got too much on offense, too much on defense. I think the defensive front's fantastic. I think, again, the skill position wise, and then they got that left tackle now to protect them, Tyron Smith. So I'm with you. I like the Jets. I think Buffalo's going to drop to 3.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. Buffalo's going to regress. I agree with that prediction.
I think it'll be Buffalo. I think it'll be so Buffalo. I'm sorry. I think it'll be the Jets and then Miami. So we'll hang on to Miami for a minute with wild card. All right. So now we jump into the AFC North. This is an interesting division.
It is an interesting division. It's a strong division if healthy, and I'm going to assume they're healthy. Cincinnati's going to win that division. I'm going to tell you why, Chris. Cincinnati's got the 3rd easiest schedule based on last year's records. Of course, it always changes. But Cincinnati, Chris, has a really easy schedule. Cincinnati's going to win that division.
They got the same schedule as the other guys in this division.
No, I'm talking Chris. But no. I know that. But the teams that they play in the other divisions, they got an easy schedule, Chris. If you look at it, the winning percentage of the teams they're playing is the 3rd easiest in football.
So to me, I think Cincinnati's been regressing over the last several years. Yeah. I think they're becoming more of Cincinnati than before. I mean, Christ, this was a team that was selling TVs for $30 to $60 a pop.
Yeah,
for cash. So I think it's Baltimore's division will lose.
All right.
I really do.
It is.
And
I know you love Harbaugh.
I don't want it to be, but I want it to be Cincinnati, but I think it's going to be Baltimore. And I honestly think Cincinnati is going to be third in that division. I think Cleveland's going to.
Okay.
Okay. So AFC South.
AFC South, Texans. I think we both agree it's Texans.
Yeah, I'm with you. Texans. Everybody else is terrible.
Okay.
AFC West.
Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs. Chiefs, but with the Chargers nipping at the heels.
They'll nip, but
okay.
It's Chiefs.
You want to go wild cards for these? Yeah, let's do AFC wild card.
I'll go wild card. I'll go Dolphins. I'm going Dolphins. I'm going Ravens, and I'm going Chargers.
I'm going Dolphins. I'm going Chargers, and I'm going Cleveland. I think Buffalo gets knocked out.
Yeah, I didn't pick Buffalo either, if you noticed.
I
agree with you. I agree with you. I think Buffalo is on the outside looking in. I agree.
Okay. Forget who's in the AFC Championship game?
AFC Championship game.
I can't wait to hear this because
AFC Championship game, you're going to kill me. Texans, Kansas City. Kansas City's going back for a 3. They're going to play for a 3-peat, Chris.
The Jets and Houston will be in the AFC Championship, and I think Houston goes to the Super Bowl.
All right. All right. I hope you're right. Oh, do I hope you're right? I really do.
NFC side of things now. East.
Eagles.
Interesting. Yeah. I like the Eagles too. You don't like Dallas? You don't think Dallas can do anything?
I think the Eagles play better this year. I think the Eagles have so much damn talent, Chris. I don't see how the hell they lose this division. They got so much talent.
A lot of dysfunction, though, with that coach.
No, there is a lot of dysfunction. There is.
All right. Okay, NFC North.
Packers.
Okay, all right. That's different.
Packers. I think that kid's going to put up MVP numbers this year, Chris.
I still like Detroit.
Yeah, I'm going to go Packers. I think the kid loves going to
job.
Yeah, I agree.
So I like Detroit, but I'm right with you on the Packers. Okay, so NFC South. Again, another crap.
This is like the little sisters of the poor over here.
That is.
Good Lord. All right. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to go Falcons.
Really?
Falcons. Yeah, I'm going to surprise you.
Why?
Falcons.
Quickly,
I just think Cousins is that type of a quarterback. He wins 10 games wherever he goes, 9-10 games if he's healthy. He wins 10 games, and that's all you need to win that division, Chris, is 9 or 10 wins.
I think Tampa will win that division.
All right.
I do. Mayfield will be all right. All right, NFC West.
Rams.
Yeah, same.
No,
Rams.
I'm joking. 49ers.
Rams. No, I thought you said 49ers. I wasn't expecting
49ers.
Rams. Yeah, 49ers. Yeah.
49ers.
With you. All right, wild card.
Wild card. This is going to surprise you. It's going to surprise you.
Nothing you do anymore surprises me.
Lions.
Yeah.
Chicago.
You're going to say Chicago. I knew it, Joe. I knew he was going to say Chicago. He's in love with Caleb Williams. In love with him. Okay, so that's going to be the team you go from worst to first, like back right up to the top.
And my last one is going to be the Rams.
Okay. I got not in particular order, but I got Dallas, I got Green Bay, and I have also the Rams. And then who's in the Super Bowl? Who's in the NFC Championship? Then who wins?
NFC Championship, 49ers, Eagles. Eagles go back to the Super Bowl, and the Eagles get revenge, and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs for the Super Bowl.
I got Detroit, and I got San Fran, and the Lions are going to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I hope so.
It's going to be Houston against the Lions. And the least watched Super Bowl in history.
And who wins it?
Houston.
Okay.
If it's that mix, Houston will win it. Wouldn't that be something, huh?
Okay.
So we want to know what you think, and we're going to get to our picks. But we want to know what
we're running short here.
Heated hotline about who you think the division winners. All right, now getting into Sunday spread, we usually give 2-3 picks apiece. Our locks of the week. And then we'll talk about the Patriots game. Go ahead, Mark. What's your lock of the week? Give me a couple games.
Okay. My lock of the week is going to be, I'm between a couple of games here, Chris, but my lock of the week, first week out is going to be the Houston Texans They're only giving 2.5 on the road. I understand Richardson's back with Indianapolis. I think
I
Indianapolis.
thought it was 3.
Well, I got 2.5 on one. Maybe it is 3. I think Indianapolis is so Chris, I think Indianapolis is so overrated. I think Houston's going to destroy them. They're going to destroy them. They're going to destroy them. And at home, opening weekend, I like Miami, giving the points to Jacksonville because
why are you taking all my picks?
Because I think Jacksonville, Chris, is another overrated team. They're so overrated. They're gonna get smoked at Miami opening weekend. Miami's gonna put up a number. Those are my 2.
You took mine.
Who I
swear to God. Oh my! Well, I picked the Texans like every week last year.
Okay,
that's a gift. Listen, that Houston game, 3 points is a gift.
That's a gift.
You used to have it at 2.5. DraftKings has it at 3. But
all right, so that's a gift.
It's an absolute gift. Indy, I think Indy sucks.
I do too.
I think they suck.
I don't understand it.
Houston's gonna. I think Houston's.
And I think Jacksonville stinks, Chris. I don't know why everyone thinks Jacksonville's good.
I am shocked that Miami's at home, right?
Yeah, I thought that line would be like 8-9 points. Opening game at home.
I mean, Christ, 3.5.
I don't understand it.
Maybe by the time it's game time, it'll be 4.
Is Waddle playing? I know there's a question on whether Waddle's going to play.
I don't care.
That's why. I don't know.
I don't care. They're gonna beat them good. I'm surprised you didn't talk about Chicago because it's 3.5. Chicago's at home against Tennessee.
I don't want to.
You got them going to the Super Bowl or whatever.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to jinx them. Just watch Caleb. Watch Caleb win Rookie of the Year. Just watch it. Everyone's saying Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is throwing to me, for Christ's sake. You got no receivers. Watch Caleb Sunday.
You got Chicago
baby.
You got Chicago going to the playoffs. I would imagine they're going to have to win this game.
Yeah, they will, but I still like the other. So if I got to do a teaser, I'm using them. That's my teaser. I'll use them in a tease with Miami and Tennessee and the Texans. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's nice because you can do it. You could do 6 points.
Yeah.
You can manipulate these lines by 6 points doing a tease.
Yeah.
But I like Chicago 3.5. I'll take it, and I'll take, by the way, in these other games, there's another game too where there's a couple of money line bets too, Mark, that people need to go in and look at also. Okay. In these games. And so make sure you check the money line out as well. Because there's a couple of games.
And Chris, you always like to watch in game too.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with me. If you can do it, if you can watch these games during the game, you can adjust your bets. They'll adjust the lines throughout the game, and that's where they could these things because you could feel it when drives are happening, scores are about to happen. You could get a feel for it, and you'll know when that's going to happen. So bet in game, parlay some of these picks. I love Houston and Miami in a parlay, Mark.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
Now,
all right,
Patriots.
It's that time.
You got to pick the Patriots game. It's an 8-point spread.
30-17 Bengals.
30-17 Bengals?
37-17.
Oh, 37.
Bengals.
So they'll cover.
37-17 Bengals. The Christian Gonzalez, your Brophy team has better corners. Your high school team has better corners. Maybe
they're not going to cover.
Maybe they should get the kid from Notre Dame. Maybe Ben should go over there and play corner.
Cincinnati's not ready to play.
Oh, yeah.
24-20 Patriots.
Oh, my God. Are you crazy?
I'm picking the upset. And I'll tell you this. If Cincinnati wins, they ain't winning by 8. I could tell you that.
All right. Listen. Gerard Mayo, first game. He ain't going to know what the hell's going on. He ain't going to be able to tie his shoes, for Christ's sake.
Take the money line. Bet the Patriots on the money line. Forget the spread. Take the Patriots outright, 24-20.
Okay, 37-17. You mark it down. That defense is going to get exposed without Bill Belichick.
All right. Well, let us know what you think and, about these spreads and these lines. But the Pats Nation was presented by CORSO CATONE, Saturday, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. Get on, watch it. Watch. All our shows are up for you. Subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. Get our notifications. And come back next Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have our preview of the Seattle Seahawks game, our home opener, and so much more. Let us know what you think. But we are the Pats Nation. Hey, enjoy the game.